Hi guys, welcome back and thanks for watching another recap of the last 24 hours and the outlook for the next 24. Coming into the trading session today, the market was optimistic as Biden became a frontrunner for the Democratic presidential nomination. Also, ISM non-manufacturing PMI for February beat expectations coming in above 57. Any reading above 50 indicates expansion, and this supported the short-term uptrend that came after the cut and Biden taking the lead. As we all know, the market hates uncertainty, and the uncertainty is still growing regarding the capability of countries outside of China to stop the spread of the coronavirus. The number of cases in the US jumped to more than 100, and 9 people have died so far. Economists are concerned that large numbers of quarantined workers could slow down consumer spending, which drives the domestic economy. There are concerns that a significant proportion of US workers is unable to work from home and also have inadequate paid sick leave. There's also been chatter online and on news wires that the US doesn't have enough capacity to test individuals for the virus. There have been several stories circulating of people who have symptoms and have called their doctors to request a test only to be denied because they had not met specific criteria designed to reduce the number of tests as a result of the low capacity to test. Some of these criteria include having been in direct contact with someone who has been confirmed to have tested positive, having visited China or another area with a high number of confirmed cases, and then another one, interestingly enough, is if they are actually in critical condition. Also, Italy today shut down all schools until March 15th, impacting 8.4 million students. Officials in Italy have even asked Italians to refrain from hugging and kissing each other when they meet. The only other countries with more confirmed infections than Italy are China, South Korea, and Iran. There's a lot more details there, but we're just looking to kind of get the general sentiment of what's going on. So aside from that, on a totally different note, nearly all of the S&P 500 companies have reported earnings so far. 70% have beat expectations, but this is outdated info relative to recent developments and isn't really a big focus right now, but it is there in the background. So as far as a bull case, any new developments regarding the vaccine, continued momentum from Biden, and an increased capacity for testing for the coronavirus, specifically in the United States, further support from the Fed and other central banks. Those are all potential catalysts for a bull case. As far as the bear case goes, if the virus continues spreading from Italy to France and other parts of Europe, that's going to be a big one. Slow vaccine development is kind of on the radar. We've been getting different reports on how long it's going to take. The WHO says it could take 1 to 2 years. Chinese ran newspapers are saying that they're getting closer. So if we get that could go either way, depending on if we have any headlines regarding the development of vaccines. And then also the continued spread in the United States. The Pacific Northwest, specifically Seattle, has been in the headlines a lot. So anything related to continuing spread in the United States. And like I said, there are a lot more drivers and different details we could cover. But as far as trading and investing goes, we've covered the general sentiment as far as what's going on right now. So let's take a look at the price action, starting with the daily chart of the S&P futures. So we continue to hold above the 200-day moving average, and this is the futures contract, not the cash market. The cash market just closed about 15 minutes ago or so. Now, the 200, which is this magenta colored line right here, kind of caused a lot of consolidation, which we'll take a look at on a shorter time frame before we broke out and moved up and used this level that we've been watching as support before moving higher. So this is the daily, nothing new aside from that. So let's drop down and take a look at the hourly. I have updated and cleaned up some of the levels that we've been looking at. This major one, the 3100 level, we broke not very long ago, just in the last hour or so of the market. We've got this level here. I'm going to try to highlight it. This level right here that we broke before pushing up to test the 3100 level was the level that I'd mentioned from the daily, this one right here. Also, yeah, we've got some minor levels below. The 3000 level was not respected very well in recent trades, so we'll keep an eye on that for now. But right now, the 3100 level has been the most important price structure that we've got, and it'll be interesting to see if we can continue to hold above that. It's very possible that if negative sentiment steps back in and we break that cleanly, it could act as a relatively significant level of resistance, and so could this level that we discussed just a moment ago. So that's the hourly. Let's take a look at the 5-minute and see what happened during today's session. All right, for perspective, let's look at yesterday. So over here is yesterday's trading. We opened right here, and this move right here was the move that we got on the surprise 50 basis point interest rate cut, and then we proceeded to sell off pretty hard after that. This move up here was from optimistic. There were headlines referring to it as the Biden bump, that the markets are pretty excited to see him pulling ahead of Bernie. So let's take a closer look at today. Market opened right here, opened up, sold off, and this is about where the ISM services PMI came in, and combined with that and this optimism surrounding Biden, and also this confidence that the Federal Reserve's monetary policy will somehow impact, the bottom line for international companies with regard to their supply chain interruptions. So some interesting sentiment running into today. This level right here was the one that we've mentioned from the daily. Let's go back and visit it again. It's this one. Once we broke that, we didn't even come back to retest it. We ran up, tested, and broke 3100, which was the major level that we were discussing on the hourly chart. It's going to be a pretty important line in the sand. So those are that's the nearby price structure. So let's take a look back at the hourly and kind of get a feel for what levels to anticipate next. All right, so we've got the 3000 level below. It has not, the last time we were there, it was not respected very well. So there's a lower chance that it's going to provide a good level of support moving forward. What a more interesting level is these lows right down here. This 2975 zone. That should be pretty interesting. Aside from that, there's not a whole lot below us. These levels are kind of sloppy. And then we've got these old levels that we haven't seen since August. So those are the levels to the downside. As far as the upside, there's a daily level up here around 3180 in that general zone, which we retested on the way down here. So those are the nearby structure. We'll come back in 24 hours and provide another update. So thanks for watching.